right, so this morning you guys called it. We're gonna watch I guess the panel you guys were the most hyped for. Obviously, the panel that I was the most hyped for, as well, was the base building. It's something I've always called for and wanted and was excited for, and I think it will be one of the backbones of this game. So this was from the Destination Adventure panel, but they were all split into all these different amazing parts, and this one was wild. So
my name is John Griffiths. I'm the lead environment artist for EU Sandbox
I gotta
2,
find,
and I'm the product owner for the distribution centers. Before we
okay, so this is actually the whole panel. The base building is at the end. I think we'll go for we'll go and we'll watch the distribution panel, the whole thing.
delve into, I'll put my slide on for a start. Before we delve into it, everything that you're going to see is currently in grey box, so just keep that in mind. So, these distribution centers, what are they? Well, first off,
how's the volume?
They're the biggest location we have on the ground outside of landing zones. The reason why they're so big is intentional. We wanted them to accommodate as much world and mission-based gameplay as possible.
This is the English accent I wish I had, yes. Now, we saw these last year at SitCon, and the thing about, we saw images of them and a little bit of white box. And then when you think about, like, man, it has been exactly 12 months since the last time I saw these. And then when you think about how long it takes to make a ship, and obviously ships are more complicated, but you look at the sheer scale of this thing and we know how many levels and detail they want to put in, you kind of go, all right, you know, they did quite a bit in comparison to what I would have thought they would have done, right? So it is really, really impressive what they've done so far, even though it's just gray box.
Each location supports multiple landing pads and hangars, making them accessible to as many players as possible at any one time.
Keep watching.
There's even a road network to support transit from the planet's surface, into the main building, and to...
I think it's pretty amazing what people will clap for. It's pretty funny. The thing is like, I'm not making fun of them for clapping for that, because I kind of felt the same way, right? But in retrospect, you're like, is it really that big of a deal? But when you realize just how little we have, you're like, is that why I'm happy? Because I have nothing?
Any birth ships.
You know? Oh, rip
so
Bozo,
every
by the way.
distribution center will be owned by a faction. You know, depending on the faction and where the distribution center is located on the planet will determine its specialism. Now, each specialism will lend itself to different missions and gameplay opportunities. So let's talk about some factions for a moment. So
guys, to be honest, I'm going to try and cover the text more than you might think I should. But it's a PowerPoint, and the person is reading the text that is on the screen. So just listen.
Example of a major faction.
I'd rather you see the visuals, because that's what the show was all about.
Now, at their distribution centers, they're likely to be more specialized towards military supply, research and development, or communications, you know, depending on which branch of the UE it is. They will have a much stronger military presence in the area. And missions here may be more hostile with combat-orientated, team-based raid opportunities. Other examples of hostile gameplay that we're...
So they hinted at raid opportunities where, like, you kind of perk up and you were like, what? More on that later. I don't know if they talk about it in this section or not. I believe they do. Maybe?
Thinking of is hacking and stealing, searching for and destroying a
but we
specific
will cover
item,
that next. How about that?
Tracking and eliminating any VIPs, and, you know, everyone's favorite, eliminate all. Great.
I would say that was probably the part that I was like, okay, so you're going to do the same things that you do now, just in a bigger location. That was my concern about last year. Was like, what is the point of making these giant locations when we all know all you're capable of doing are really kind of server dependent, subpar-ish experiences, because that's all we've experienced up to this point, right?
AK Industrial would be an example of a minor faction.
By the way, shout out to Board Gamer for posting these on YouTube, because the YouTube player is just so much easier to deal with than Twitch. So thank you, Board.
So their distribution centers will be more specialized towards gathering resources, manufacturing, assembly, shipping. There would be a security presence here, but it won't be that as strong as a major faction. And missions here would be more suited to friendly gameplay loops, though we won't be ruling out hostile missions like corporate espionage. Yes, some other friendly gameplay types.
So I like this, that there's going to be a bunch of these, and each one is a little bit different, and they're themed in a way for, I don't know, the idea of, for certain gameplay styles, right? Like if you want to go down to bunkers and do bunker stuff, you got that. But if you want to be a cargo hauler, friendly type of gameplay, you're able to kind of be in your own place and be a little bit more part of that style of things. Resource gathering, mining, maintenance, all that stuff. The non-combat related things you can do. Now, if it's anything like the current game and there is money to be made, there will be pirates at these locations as well, right?
Cargo hauling, like I said,
Servius,
resource gathering and mining, maintenance of the location. But you know, that's enough of me talking about it. How about we show you where we're up to with these distribution centers?
How about that? And right below me, it's kind of tough to see with the chat, gray box in progress. So take the visuals and recognize that this is nowhere near final art. I think it looks really good for gray box. Really good. Like, this is them just kind of getting the layout of things and the general art style. This is not like fancy lighting. This isn't, really looking good. But, and then again, really take in just how big the location is. So, because like my initial thought was 12 months and we're only in gray box. Like when they showed that was my first thought, is like negativity, right? And then just really realize just how huge something like this is. And you just got to hope that they're focused on replication of these over and over and over again, and with variety and stuff like that. I'm interested to know if these facilities can be damaged or destroyed. I would imagine pieces of them might be able to be damaged, but the facility won't be able to be destroyed. So that was the big thing that I think people saw the Maelstrom demo a couple days ago and was like, everything can be destroyed. They might be having that idea in their head. I don't think that's the way it's going to go. I don't know about you guys, but I really don't think that everything will be destructible in this game. I think that they're going to mark up what can be, because we definitely saw the bug part of that on the first panels. They showed some video and there was like boxes popping up everywhere. It was clear that those areas were marked up for destruction and others weren't, right? Yes, this is Copium Simulator 2024. That's Star Citizen changed its name. Yeah, LVG, who works there and works in art. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? LVG said it. I can't see how that's possible. Yeah, he or she, I actually don't know, did this video. LVG is very, Oh yeah, dude, the music is always so loud. I'm sorry. It was super annoying to have to manage. I didn't do the music. It's all good. A Monday stream. Yeah, Emmy told me I need to go live today because I didn't get the opportunity to like really enjoy the convention yesterday because I was running the stream. So it all looks good. I mean, it's really just showing how big the location is and how much they can do. It's just a matter of them doing it, right? Like, that's what this video was about. Like, look at the things that could happen. But that's been the theme of Star Citizen for a long time. So it's about making those things actually happen and happen consistently and smoothly and enjoyable for the player base, right?
Thank you. So to talk you through the corporate spaces at these locations, please welcome Rainer Rick to the stage.
Hi.
Hello, hello. So my name is Rainer Rick. I'm a lead environment artist at the Montreal studio. Yep. And we've been working with John's team on the distribution centers. So John just showed how massive these locations are. He also presented the industrial sections on the ground level. And I'm here to present the administrative area of these facilities that the Montreal team has been working on. So they're located above ground, just below the tower highlighted in the picture. Inside, you'll be able to explore the corporate office space and interact with the administrative personnel. Accessible via the lifts in the hangars and also the industrial sections we saw earlier. In addition, we've added also landing pads in front of the lobby, specifically designed for smaller ships and ideal for short stays like pickup or delivery missions.
Nice.
And we can't ignore the fantastic views we have from the...
We can't ignore the screenshot platform. Pay $10 a month to access the screenshot platform. That's what they should start doing.
Platforms.
That's the kind of monetization that should be in this game.
A reminder of the vastness of these facilities. Now, let's step inside the lobby. You'll find the atrium, which is a central point of the administrative area, providing access to various locations of the corporate space.
Now, if I'm a little bit less talkative and a little bit less interested in this area of the video, it's because none of this is new. This is basically reiterating what we had seen twice in the last year, of that there will be lobbies and there will be there'll be corporate, the signage and things like that. Like, all of that stuff will be a thing. They always, ever since they announced these, this was part of the conversation. So it's a lot of reiteration of things I already know. You might not, so I'll let you take it in. But we heard about this during the last 12 months, so this wasn't new from yesterday.
Within this space, you'll find the reception desk.
Hello.
And as a newcomer, you'll be expected to report here first. So here you can hand over your deliveries or pick up packages and earn reputation points with that faction.
Reputation points.
So also expect to see corporate ownership reflected through branding, color schemes, and product placement throughout the corporate hub. And with the use of overlays, we'll be able to swap these out depending on the ownership. And here's an example with Grey Cat showcasing their vehicles and some shiny armor.
Does anybody know the lore of Grey Cat a little bit more? Like, I know it's a big corporation, but like, you sell... It feels like they just sell like not really good stuff. So like, of all the choices of company, I'm just sitting here going like, why Grey Cat?
And back on the
Paul,
topic
anybody?
of
Paul,
reputation,
Shelley?
as it grows,
Hello,
you can expect
Astro?
to gain access to the executive office spaces. From here, you'll meet with unique quest givers, and depending on your reputation level, you'll receive various mission types, either friendly or hostile.
Now, that is something that's kind of new. Like, there was an executive office, and when you get access to it through reputation, you get unique missions and things like that. And that was a big focus from the show. and there was a lot of talk about reputation. And I know that they put reputation in the mission team's hands. We don't know what they're doing with it, but we know that every artist and location team is mentioning it and talking about it. It seems like it's an initiative at the company. But again, these are one of those things is there's a lot of this at CitizenCon. So when are those things going to come into our hands? When are we going to see those things? It is absolutely wonderful to see that be a focus. And it's why I'm so happy, over the last 2 days, is because it's like, wow, all the things that I really wanted in the game, they're finally confirming that they also want those things. And that's also the direction that they want to go. But it's about taking the current rep system we have and really building it out. And I'll tell you this, since they started discussing reputation in the last year or so, more consistently, I am disappointed with the lack of progress we've made on it. And I'm very proud. I'm very happy to see that the mission team was like, we're going to own this. We're going to make this happen. So, that was one of the things that I would love to see at the end of, a Q4 thing pop in, is just the first little iteration of it. Doesn't have to be special, doesn't have to be crazy, but we need to start moving in that direction, right?
And finally, the distribution centers were designed as an evolving location. We've built this with future expansion in mind. And in the back of the lobby, for example, doorways could eventually lead to additional office space. So,
yeah, the internal expansion's endless, right?
Just before I show our progress so far, I want to give a big thank you to the Montreal team for their work on the administration area.
Yeah, the Montreal studio, not gonna lie, a lot of shit changed when they came on, honestly.
Thank you. And as John mentioned, we're still in gray box space.
I don't know where we would be without them.
But let's take a look.
Yeah, I think they might have saved us, dude. I want Montreal CitizenCon next year. Would a corporation really salute? Right? But it's what they got, You put the stuff in for the 07s? Yeah, I mean, you only have so many emotes. I wonder what it would be. This obviously works. Very, yes. I mean, look at my empire of money making. Yes, I sell golf carts for a living. I own Grey Cat. God damn it, the music again. That was Morph. They were bombing Morph outside the facility.
Thank you very much. And now let me welcome back John on stage. He's going to continue the presentation. Thanks a lot, guys.
So here's raids. Because I was, running the stream and stuff yesterday, I didn't get the best look at this and the best understanding of this. So I'm really going to focus on this, and we're going to pause a lot. We're going to talk about it because this has got to hit hard, and it's definitely in its infancy from what I gathered.
team did a great job with that video. Okay, so something we've been working on that's unique to this location is raids. Click on. So raids are team-based missions with a focus on high-risk, high-reward operations.
Hold that comedy, I saw
previously,
it though.
You'll be able to choose how you gain entry to these locations. Coming prepared and geared up will make the difference between success and failure. Ultimately, you'll need to work together in order to succeed. So these
so right away, the intention is you're not soloing this, right? This is, I guess the best example might be platinum tickets, you know, because that's really the only thing that you absolutely had to kind of rock with a group.
We'll have you breaching the interior of the main structure, highlighted here. Now, each interior will comprise of rooms that reflect the location's specialism. Yeah. For example, a shipping focused distribution center will have rooms dedicated to the storage of cargo. Looking to the future, we're planning on having distribution centers with subterranean levels that will be accessed from this interior space. These will...
Okay, so now, that said, now we're getting into a little bit of negativity around these, because these have been a pillar of the discussion about the progress of Star Citizen for 12 months. And CitizenCon last year, they showed levels on levels on levels. They showed underground. They showed all these things. And then we're getting 3 of those levels, right? So, and I've called out through the entire time we've been talking about this, these places are huge, and it's entirely understandable. But it always comes down to the way they set the expectation, and then how they actually deliver it always leaves you kind of like, I thought it was going to be like this. Like you showed that refinery area way down at the bottom, right? So they always kind of do that to you, and it's just like, maybe we should keep it calm at the beginning. It's not hard to excite us, so keep it low and build up to it. But they never do.
Expand upon and increase the difficulty of these raids.
Yeah,
now let's take a look.
We will be waiting for these to finish. These will be built over the next few years, and they will continue to expand and continue to grow. And I'm personally totally fine with that. But it's how they sold it at first that you were like, here's what I'll say about this, is the way they sold it at last year's CitizenCon was like, okay, I see the current bunkers that I have now. I see what they're comfortable showing to us. So they are comfortable delivering this in a reasonable amount of time. What they showed to me, they are comfortable, reasonably comfortable giving to us in a reasonable amount of time. And then we, fast forward literally 12 months from then, and we have a lot less that will be coming into our hands within the next 12 months or so than they showed at that ISC, what they showed at that CitizenCon 12 months ago, right? So that's the part where I feel like, I'm constantly being CIG'd about these things. With that said, everything that they're showing at this CitizenCon certainly is exciting, certainly is cool. And I don't feel like I needed what they showed me at last year's CitizenCon. I feel like what they showed me at this year's CitizenCon is what I need. I don't need 35 levels. What levels I have need to be good. And what they're showing me is that they want to make them good. So I'm okay with it. But at the same time, it's just another lesson of some of the things at CitizenCon. A year from now, you're going to feel CIG'd. Almost a guarantee,
Look at one of these raid missions in action, but please note that this is early gameplay prototype of a raid.
I see you working, Selby. I'm sorry over the last couple of days. want to get CIG'd anymore, man. Yeah, this is a prototype for a raid. So they're comfortable now showing us prototype footage to show us their intentions, and that's all this is, right? Yeah, for now, this is Raid Shadow Legends. You know, we need AQ-40s. God King, thank you. I see somebody in chat say, for a prototype, it looks decent. First-time chatter, so I'm guessing maybe not... You know, just hearing about Star Citizen, haven't been following the project for a while. Thank you, guys. Just keep on me with the loud music. I apologize. YouTube shouldn't have to deal with this, but it's much harder on Twitch to manage it. My guess is maybe you haven't been following the project that long. This is very basic in what we have now. So if you like what you're seeing, you can honestly experience this as at a much smaller scale, just going down to a bunker and stuff. It was just like they took AI and just had them shooting at you so far. Now that thing was cool. I think out of all the ways they could have done a dolly or whatever it would be called. What are these called? Out of all the ways they could have done this, I think they did it the best way. I don't get why you're walking on it, though. I would like it to be a vehicle. Yeah, it was very Overwatch, moving the payload. You could tell they were Overwatch inspired here a little bit. It's laggy. Yep. Yeah, it's early. You know, it's expecting to be. That's expected. It's TF2, not Overwatch. I'm sorry, guys.
So,
I'm not an
as
FPS
you saw
gamer.
in the video, the team took a more aggressive approach to getting inside and taking what they wanted. But this isn't the only approach you can use. You know, multiple points of egress allow you to be stealthier, and it may make it easier for you to avoid obstacles in your path. Now, reputation will also tie into these raids.
Thank you, Karnasov.
Missions will have varying objectives.
So obviously multiple entrances are a new step up from the current bunkers. And the other thing is like triggering of dynamic events. Think security post Korea, right?
Depending on the player's reputation level. And dynamic events may also be triggered during the raid, so players will need to adapt to an evolving situation. This could range from dealing with additional security personnel to other players arriving to defend the location against you. Something else we've been prototyping is how we can utilize the multi-tool to create gameplay puzzles. Physically interacting with the environment around you changes the puzzles.
Loving the focus on puzzles.
With multiple add-ons for the tool available, you may have to get creative when finding a solution to the problem in front of you. In this next video, we show you how using the tractor beam attachment can open up new paths to your objective, but it's up to you to decide what path you can create with what is available. Let's watch the video.
Now, you could tell that this is very prototype, and they're using 1 SCU boxes, and I feel like we want less 1 SCU boxes in the game. So I hope there's another way to do this with the larger ones to just remove all the 1 SCUs. But yeah, this is super awesome. And just to be clear, there is no volume during this period. So, you know, I can try and fill that empty void space, but I mean, just take it all in, guys. These are things that we have in the game, sort of, but they keep bringing it to a better and better and better level. I think the Montreal team was really the first team to introduce the puzzles with the, well, sort of. I mean, we had the original mission at Kovalex, but the Montreal team was like the first team to bring in puzzles, and it's been great.
It was, this location would be possible with several people at CIG, so thanks go to Manuel, John, Jack, Martin, Farouk, Luke, Chris, Mustafa, Sam, Tom, and Rob. You've been excellent. Thank you to Rainer and his team in Montreal. None of this would be possible without their efforts. And yeah, thanks to everybody here and online watching. Really appreciate your support. On to the next one.
Yeah, and I think when it came to raids, I think that it was raiding a facility. It's not a, this dynamic, or I don't think dynamic's the right word, but it's not like a raid boss with raid mechanics and necessarily, right? There were some puzzles, there were some things, but I think not a WoW raid, but a raiding a facility of its goods. It was the intention there. When I heard raid initially, I was like disappointed. Yeah, maybe they should use the word heist, because I do hope we get raids in this game, right? Vandal, some big boss Vandal with some mechanics and things like that. I really do want to see something like that in game. So I think they should rename it, because I want that, but I don't think I get that kind of say, right? But if you're saying you're building an MMO and you use the word raid, that's where my head goes, right? All right, and then this was art. So what section was this? Let's see.
This is a good segue from the distribution centers, as I'll be talking to you about different aspects of cargo and freight on behalf of art and design.
This part was sick.
My name is Nick Etheridge, and I'm an assistant environment art director.
This part I will be pausing a lot, and I will be taking it in myself, because a lot of this stuff went over my head.
So obviously cargo isn't just about boxes. It's a big part of the game. Almost every aspect of the game has some kind of involvement with cargo. And I'm going to briefly go through some of them now. So let's start with missions. How will hauling contracts work in-game? We'll be introducing the Interstellar Transport Guild, as well as formalizing some of the main hauling and cargo companies that you'll be working with.
Okay, so Unified, I think, is in the game, maybe. Taba Freight Line, I've never heard of before. So Pyro, potentially. And we'll have like the big overarching... So they're basically taking what we currently have. If you guys are familiar with bounties, you have the overall Bounty Hunters Guild, and then you have the bounty hunters offices in each planet, right? So they're taking what we already have and using it somewhere else. Is this a rerun? Yes, I'm watching yesterday's stuff.
As you do more hauling contracts, you will build up your reputation and relationship with the guild. This will lead you to gaining more lucrative contracts for specialized cargo and destinations, such as different forms of hazardous cargo, perishable cargo, riskier routes, and more. So what do I mean by hazardous and perishable?
Okay, and this is really difficult because everything's PowerPoint. I'm gonna try and move myself around. And again, this is a focus of mine in the game, so I will spend a little bit more time on this kind of stuff. Hazardous, perishable, fragile, priority. High-risk routes, a career in cargo will have a meaningful sense of progression. Really try to read the blue text in this, because they're really trying to hammer home what they want to do. And then we get to tell them, are they achieving those goals, right? So how we are to give feedback over the next 12 months or so when these things come online is, did this make me feel like I had a meaningful sense of progression? You have to tell them that. You have to let them know how those things are over the year. Now, a lot of these things exist in the game in one way or another, right? We have hazardous cargo, sort of. We certainly have fragile and perishable type cargo in certain senses of the word. Like you can't quantum with certain things if you've ever played Xenothreat, stuff like that. We have these, but they haven't distributed them in a wide range to the whole game. Like the ecosystem of cargo hauling and cargo hauling missions and commodities is it's not unified in any way. It's all separated out into on its own islands. So it's good to see them talk about doing this kind of stuff, but they really need to start to bring all those islands together into like a Pangea of gameplay, right?
Well, as you know, there's lots of commodities in the game, and different commodities have different properties. As you know, with events like Xenothreat, we have some special cargo types with different attributes, right, such as time-sensitive cargo.
So we had like valuable rarity, perishable time, perishable for atmosphere, fragility, which is they've never done well fragility, to be honest. It's really hard for the server to communicate it right now. So I'd love to see this in the future, but this should be the least prioritized. Volatile explosive, radioactive toxic, quantum sensitive we already have, and then obviously we have mineable ores, minerals, metals, non-metals, gases. Oh, sorry.
Cargo.
Click my OBS screen and not cargo.
But those were a small selection for the event.
And then you have more raw, organic, liquid chemicals, legal status, and then it goes back to value, rarity.
And they were the two-handed carryable types anyway. We'll be expanding those types, plus lots more types, to the wider game and to these hauling contracts. So how does this affect gameplay? It will affect the choices you make when you are handling, storing, and traveling with the cargo. For example, with size and weight. Is it carryable? Do you need a tractor beam? What type of tractor beam do you need? Is it a handheld one or a ship tractor beam? Some containers can only be moved with ship tractor beams, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I think the direction that we expect the game to be going is that the really big one here is not going to be lifted up by our multi-tool, right? We see the whole sea. It's going to use these 32 SCUs, and you're going to use your ship tractor beams to move them. The ones next to them, the 1 SCU ones, that's a whole different story, right? We'll be using those with our multi-tool for sure. So now it's a factor of how that'll play out, right? And we'll see. But then I do think the health and shielding thing up here, I don't know if he touches on that or not.
With health, has the container got good integrity? Is it holding fragile goods? Do you need to handle it with care? You can't just throw all containers about. For temperature,
and I know this is just concept art, okay? But seeing water, and I'm from New Jersey, so I say water weird. Seeing a container for water is a really big deal to me. I think thinking about the expanse and ice mining and how important water was to certain stations, right? It just makes sense, you know? And I just like to see this, and yeah.
Temperature control, do you need to ensure the container is powered
valuable,
so it can keep the contents cool? Or
did you hear that too? Temperature controlled, make sure a container is powered. How do we do that? Right? So they're really thinking long term. Now, how many of these things do we think we get in the next 12 months or so? Not many, right? So this is, again, them sharing their intentions of where they want to take this. I just can't say it with a straight face that I believe that they will deliver on everything that they mentioned here in 12 months or so. But their intentions, I like their intentions.
Or do you need to get to your destination quickly? Otherwise, the contents may perish. For security, can the container be locked or hacked?
Locked or hacked is cool.
Can the contents be scanned, or is the container tracked? Will there be pirates or law after you when you're holding?
The other thing, was the container tracked? So can you be tracked? Can you track somebody else? So now if you're going ahead and you're talking about, working guild with the guild. So I'll give the example of Space Cutlet, a pirate guild, Ram and Space Cutlet pirate guild that I work with for moving cargo when they do piracy hits. Are they going to track the cargo that we're moving to make sure we're moving it to the right place? Right? Pretty cool. Make sure we're not screwing them over.
Hazard containment. Is it radioactive? You might need the right protection against it, as you may have seen in Jens's presentation earlier.
Yeah, there's other radioactive activity
Can it explode?
presentations.
You might not want to put these containers on a more exposed section of your ship. And many of these attributes are going to be visually distinctive. So conversely, if you want to steal, for example, some cargo on a hull C, which does have very exposed cargo containers, you might want to avoid shooting blindly and accidentally blowing up your potential profits. So look out for those types of containers.
Right, and I think that's where their current focus today, right now, right before this event, was these are the things that we intend and these are the things that we want to do, but where do we have to start? We have to start with making the list of what we want to do, and then immediately after that, where it appears like they are right now, we have to design what the containers will look like so they read to the player, and that is what they're doing. And this is where we come to Star Citizen. Everything takes forever, and you get excited for this in the moment, and then this is the last time we'll hear from them for months and months and months at a time, right? And that's where it's like, I got to remember and I got to maintain I got to contain my hype in this explosive container, otherwise I'm going to explode, right? So that's my expectation with these is love the direction, thumbs up, get to work, and update me consistently. And then how I would love to see it come to the game is in little pieces. Every patch we get a little bit more and more and more. For right now, that we're not doing that as much. I think with Salvage has been the best example of them doing that really well over the last 12 months, right, or so.
Back to mission progression. We'll be introducing perks and rewards as part of fulfilling...
Sorry, I want to listen to everything he says here, and I'm going to move myself right there, and make sure you read that blue text, people.
...contracts and raising reputation with these companies. For rewards, we'll have branded ship and tool skins, branded clothing. There will be collectibles to decorate your hab, hangar, or ship, or you can put them anywhere you want. And there'll be more exclusive rewards that we'll be revealing later. Thank you.
I mean, imagine clapping for the most obvious thing that should have been in the game forever ago. Right? But I clapped because it just shows just how thirsty, how hungry we are for something like this, right? Is everybody who clapped is just as hungry and is just as thirsty as I am for these things.
For perks, you'll get access to more items in shops and discounts on specific items. And all of these rewards and perks you need to earn in the game. You cannot just buy them.
Yeah. And the big thing is discounts on specific items. I think that those specific items need to be, and I wish they touched on this specifically, but the speed in which your cargo is loaded and unloaded and things like that, right? Because it could be really tedious. A lot of the cargo stuff that they've shared from the interaction sides of things with cargo. This is not the interaction. This is an artist that is talking, right? So he is telling you where they're designing the art of things from the perspective of the gameplay design documents that they've shared, right? But what we've seen from how we'll interact with cargo in recent weeks tells me that, we're going to need or want to possibly, automate these things and move cargo around like that. And I hope if you build rep with some of these companies that automation will happen faster and things like that, right? Oh, 100% smarter. Yeah.
Next, let's have a look at freight elevators and hangars.
Oh, yeah. This
I knew you'd be excited for this.
Did you hear that? Somebody just went, "Oh yeah," in the audience. Hold on.
I knew you'd be excited for this. I'd like to show you a short video to demonstrate how freight elevators will change how you view your hangars and how you use your hangars.
That was Montoya. Yeah. Actually, it did sound like Croncy. True. So they're huge. Music. Sorry. And again, everybody said 2 hours later, but with the current system and the way how big the boxes are and how much cargo you're actually moving, an entire C2 can be moved around in like 10-15 minutes. It really doesn't take long. Anybody who says that doesn't play or doesn't play this type of gameplay. But it should take time. Yes, but how much time, right? Like 2 hours, it should not take. 10 minutes, I think everybody would be sort of comfortable with that. But I think the one criticism that I would say is that you would want it to be meaningful. So the idea of, well, why do I put something in a certain place or whatever, right? Like maybe that should have some more meaning, because just playing Tetris is satisfying, but I know I enjoyed it. I just don't know how many people besides me would, right? And how tedious would it become over time, over, weeks, months, years for people? Maybe it's not that good, but yeah, the only thing I see is like volatile cargo and how that would play out. But that's like, feeling like gameplay. But yeah, like this doesn't get boring very quickly for me, but for other people, I can definitely see that being a thing. I love it. So I'll never knock this, but I can totally understand somebody else knocking it, They mentioned box house are the days of banging things around away. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Again, there's another look at the cargo thing, a really good look at it. If you didn't notice, they never showed him going down a ramp because these have notoriously been horrendous on ramps. So don't get too excited yet.
No.
They just cut it on the ramp. And then obviously vehicles. No surprise here, but seeing it is awesome. I think Level Cap said this. Are people going to start using vehicles more now that the ease of access to them is higher? And I think the answer to that is definitely yes. Did anybody catch? Okay. He's in the seat. So I saw the ability to unlock all, and I wasn't sure if they were in the seat or just like looking at the ship. I want the ability to just literally look at the ship and like maybe use a radial menu the way that I'm using it here. And then, if you want to make it feel immersive and real, like they're really going for it, then my character presses something on their mobi-glass and my ports are unlocked, I thought that's what we were getting, which is why I paused. But it's not. But this is all really cool, right? You can just kind of feel the game. And again, I do want to point out how fake this whole thing was, just because I do hope that these boxes do become a thing that we all use, but all of these items were just placed down with a tractor beam and then picked up because they're loose. So not all of them. The next item that they show was made purposefully, which shows the direction they want to go, which is great. I think when they bring these to weapon cases and things like that, it's going to be really awesome. Personally, thoughts, guys, on how you feel, but I would way prefer something less physical and more, this is a weapon crate, and I think Tarkov, right? Where the weapon crate can hold more weapons in it, but it just opens an inventory container instead of being super physical. I want them to gamify this more than what they showed here. But I can totally understand if your preference is the other way around, but I would much rather it be Tarkov, and then, the med container can hold more meds, the food container can hold more food, and that's the way it plays out. But I think they show their cards here in the next section, and I'm not going to get what I want, but that's okay. You can't, win everything. So that's going to be your med pen / med gun case, and it's all physical, and it is what it is. So I think the people who want physical, I think you're getting what you want, but I think it's incredibly tedious and, not great. Your Evo Cadi, nobody cares. So am I. What the fuck does that mean? Who asked?
Thank you. So,
sorry, I had to shit on somebody today.
As you can see, hangers.
Sorry, it was you.
Persistent and personal, meaning you can stay there as long as you want. Whatever
sorry, man. I couldn't go a stream without getting one guide.
Your hangar won't just be a place that you leave.
I just wanted to make people laugh. I'm sorry it's at your expense. Your hangar, it'll be more than just a place to travel from. Persistent and personal. Request ships and inventory items within the hangar. Again, we'll see how all this stuff
from in your ship. It will become a key.
You should read the context. I should, but it's gone.
To handle your inventory and storage needs.
I'll try.
And you'll be able to request your ships from an ASOP terminal from within the hangar itself.
We're agreeing. I got you. I saw the context.
Location inventories won't be magic and instant anymore. This means that the freight elevators will be one of the main ways you interact with your local inventory. Items stored at the location can be requested via the elevator kiosks and will be brought up in a physicalized state to do with as you want.
Okay, we know this. Oh,
this will be done through a dedicated interface screen to manage large volumes of items. It won't be using the personal inventory system. The change is obviously a really big quality of life improvement to retrieving ground vehicles. No longer do you have to travel thousands or millions of kilometers to specific places in the verse to get your vehicle. You will get them straight from your hangar.
Great news. You could tell that sentiment, I mean, think about it. Dragonfly is a pretty cool, the space motorcycle things have always been pretty cool. And to bring one along has always been such a pain in the ass. I feel like no matter what, you might have a little mule, you might have a little something in your ship now just because it's easier to.
You'll also be able to bring up ship components. So your hangar is now more of a maintenance bay and outfitters where you can do repairs and swap around items and things like that. So in short, persistent player hangars in combination with freight elevators will dramatically change what you can do in your hangar. It will be a home to do as you want, which has always been the dream.
Yeah.
That concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.
SaltEMike, how do we play this game now before the patches? I literally have zero motivation now too. I feel the same way. How in the hell do I play 321 right now after seeing what could be? And how you will play 321 is when you realize how far away most of this stuff is. So if you want to experience and play Star Citizen a little bit and get a feel for where things are and where they're going, you jump in here and there. I mean, I could play Gun Game because that's just goofy and fun, but outside that, it's going to be really hard after this CitizenCon. This CitizenCon makes you want it, you know, everything they showed. And then the big theme was, you're going to get it.
And I will pass you over to Todd Pappy.
So they need to bring it.
CitCon. Come on, I can't hear you. All right, there we go.
Giga Chad, Todd Pappy.
So, we'll be talking today about something special.
This is the moment.
It's an
This
update
is it.
On something that we talked about a little while ago, but we feel it's the future of Star Citizen, and it's the culmination of multiple different game systems coming together. So why don't you play the video?
Yeah, this is kind of the end game. I've been asking, what is the end game? And I think they just told us. Chills. But I think the air conditioner just turned on, that's it. Land claim site. So the land claim site just popped up here and everybody just realized what's happening. And that's why the cheers. And then you're just like, excuse me? And dude, they look so... I mean, is that gray box? Because we saw what gray box looked on the big thing, but they look so polished. You know? You think it's a render? No. I think it's just gray box is what it is. And this is when I didn't lose it until that. When it started populating, I was like, oh my God. My fucking dreams are coming true. Everything I ever wanted is literally on the screen right now. Everything I ever wanted out of this game is on the screen at the moment. Even my wife was losing her mind, and she was like, I want baseball.
You ever wanted? This is making your dreams come true. I'm very
Star
excited.
Citizen dreams.
I'm very
not
excited.
real life dreams. Now, even my wife wanted to play. No.
You did push me away.
Yeah, I pushed you away. I'm reacting. I'm reacting. You want to come react too? Okay, you want to react too? My wife wants to react too. You wanted to... She was looking up her computer specs
I looked at my computer specs. I have a Mac, so can you guys work on that? Proxys, anybody? Can you guys
Proxys.
Can you guys make that happen for me, please?
That's not what...
Elliot, Richard, I just know the names.
Yeah.
Elliot, Richard, Proxys.
Somebody do something.
Somebody, can you please This is so cool.
Yeah, this is everything
so
I would have.
cool.
This is everything I would have ever wanted.
Like, I don't play video games, and this is so cool.
All right, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play.
I'm gonna leave now.
You don't have to leave, but I gotta hit play. What was your favorite part of it? Like the housing?
I mean, that laser looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, if you can make stuff.
That's what this is.
Solar panels are neat. Pretty green.
Keeping it green. I think we're at green energy by this point.
Yeah.
This was the one that I was like, okay, this is crazy.
Vertical
Farms.
Vertical farming.
Like, at this point, I was just, like, losing it. Medical.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And just recognize, like, the sheer how much they're covering, how much space they're covering. And if you guys look back at because they sold these, classic, they sold land. In case you guys didn't know, $50 for a 5x5 claim. I think it was $100 for an 8x8 claim. That's kilometers.
And how much did you spend on it?
I spent $800.
You spent $800? Was this before you met me?
Yes.
Thank God.
Right before I met you. No. Was it when we first started dating? When I went to
Austin?
Austin. Yeah.
Like a month after we started dating?
Yes. Yep. I bought I keep calling it the Polaris. I bought the Pioneer. I think the Pioneer was $800, and it was a base building ship. And it came with one land claim. So I got an $800 land claim and a picture of a ship.
6 years ago.
6 years ago. Let's fucking go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. 6 years later.
Wood. Stonks, guys. How much can I sell that ship for now?
In the verse.
Yeah.
Because nobody can afford to do it out of the verse.
Yeah, guys, I got in on the ground floor, okay? I got in on the ground floor.
Man, when you resell, that's going to be worth
Hell yeah.
monies.
Yep. My account's probably worth a lot because I have ships that I bought for like super cheap that they're selling for like $1,000 now.
Don't say that. People are going to try to hack it.
Oh, they're going to try to hack me?
Yeah. Hacker
Guys,
man.
I have two-factor authentication.
All right.
Good luck.
So base building.
Wait, cut to the
All
guy
right. It
who
breaks
was
down
not
into
impressed.
two really large.
Oh yeah, there was
Wait,
Yeah, right on this scene, there was some guy who
No,
just
hold
like
on.
did not give a shit.
I don't
Right?
know if it was here or if it was in...
It was
All
so
right.
funny.
So base building.
No, it wasn't this one.
All right. It breaks down into two really large gameplay sections: planning ahead and prepping, and then you've got the on-site where you're actually going to build. So with that, you need to figure out what your goal is. Is it to have a home with a nice view and relax? Is it to have a trading post where you want to create and sell items? Is it to gather resources available and move on to the next area? Or is it to be off grid and be complete?
Well, Emmy pointed at home with a great view and like kind of went, why?
No, I just love it. Like,
Because it's very like concierge, but keep that in mind because that's going to be the big focus of my discussion around this and why I loved this panel so much, even though I know there is a 0% chance that we get any of this in 12 months or so. Or so means 12 years. Like it doesn't matter because of how this panel was framed and everything. I am happy about the panel. My expectations about when I get this is, wildly different than what they're saying. Okay? Wildly different.
Completely self-sufficient. So with that, with your prep and everything like that, we've got blueprints. So the recipes. Everything in the game is fabricated from a blueprint. Players acquire blueprints via reputation rewards, missions, or rare NPCs. With any blueprint, you can actually do research on it and then create different variations. With materials ranging from the common to ultra rare, you might find them at the local shop or have to travel around the universe to collect them.
Okay. So again, I heard about this a long time ago and I was like, when is this going to become a thing? They are recipes. Everything is built from a blueprint. So when they say everything is built from a blueprint, that is something that they talked about 5 years ago or something about how they were going to price things is like, okay, these have blueprints of made from this material, that blah, 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 blah. So it's going to cost you this much. I think that they used this blueprint like system of when they were deciding how much ships would cost you to buy in game. And then think now how far this is away, because every single item now needs a recipe, and somebody has to decide what the recipe is and how much the materials cost, and then with that, somebody has to decide when you buy them from a shop how much they cost and things like that. But this is the moment for me. Was the base building was one thing, but this is the thing that you hope to see come in slowly but surely over time. Is they're setting the expectations right. It's just a handle for a gun, right? And then they can slowly start bringing this in, and this is where the direction I've wanted to see the game go for years and years and years. I'm just happy to see this, and this is how I want to play the game. So I'm so happy, and I'm so happy I can finally be like, I can talk about this without people telling me that I'm stupid and that this will never happen, because it's happening. When? Who the fuck knows? But my hope is that they start small and soon and build up from there. But yeah, this makes me so happy, right? Obtained via reputation rewards was number 1, mission rewards number 2, rare shopkeepers number 3. Not randomly finding them in a loot box like a Vandal mask, right? Like real gameplay implications here. Nothing here I'm arguing in any bad way other than give it to me as soon as possible, right?
Unrefined.
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
No.
Okay, we'll move on.
Refined.
Oh,
simple material.
Somebody did say like Emmy can't hear the video. I watched this last night.
Yeah, so she actually has a memory where I
do,
don't.
Yes.
Yeah. Also called a fabrication terminal.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, ooh, fancy.
Yeah.
Or even complex components will all go into the fabrication. With this, then you got location, location, location. First area is high security. So you must purchase the land.
This is everything.
The base is actually invulnerable because the planetary
Again,
you keep saying
everything
it.
is everything.
You keep saying
this is my life.
shield tech. A security will show up to protect it as well. You pay for the privilege. You're taxed. So at this point, you won't have the best resources available. You won't have access to the best resources available on the planet. If you don't pay your taxes, the shields will go away after a period of time, and the base will become derelict and will collapse.
By the way, that is like the Ultima Online collapse system, which is so awesome. So this is something I'm so happy to see. I think some people are not going to like this because there's been this conversation around PvP and that everything you can fight over and things like that. Well, guess what? Not here. And I love that, right? And this goes back to the, you want to just have a nice vista or a view or anything like that is always going to be a thing that you want to do and have people be able to see, right? Is the idea of I can just be safe here. My stuff is safe here. I can build something beautiful at a river, a waterfall, whatever, right? And for me, I look at it, maybe this is a little bit of an exploit where you can have your safe haven, safe spot where you store all your valuable material, your guns, your rare loot, all that stuff, but nobody can take it. So, big orgs might be moving things in and out of these locations, and a little exploity for maybe like cargo and stuff, but then they keep going and it just only gets better.
But this is low risk, low reward.
I'll just bomb the shit out of them. Sir, you are completely these are invulnerable in high security locations. Invulnerable, okay?
Then you've got low security. So again, you must purchase the land. It's owned by an independent corp, gang, or faction. Again, you don't have access.
Okay, do we need to listen to it again? He said these are invulnerable, okay? I am not making this up. He said they're invulnerable, okay? High cost, low financial return, okay? The next spot is where you start having risk and reward, okay?
To all the best resources on the planet. The base is vulnerable. AI NPCs will show up and protect the base if it's attacked.
The base is vulnerable?
The protection will escalate over time. Player can also build defenses to help mitigate this as well. and then it's medium reward, medium risk. Then you've got lawless. So this is no protection other than what you build. There's shields, anti-air. Players can disable the shields by getting close to them and destroying them. High risk, high reward. Since there's no taxes, no protection fees, you get a high return on the resources that you collect. Now, there's some cross-shard and server meshing considerations that will kind of adjust this design in the future, but we'll get into that later once we're really building it.
Yeah, so clearly we're not building it, right? That was the first thing that I take from that. The second thing is it's going to be a lot easier to make resources if they do with what we saw, right? So your base laser goes down to the ground and extracts resources. All you have to do is make the box that the resources go in. You don't have to make or look any sort of way or nothing.
So from here, you've got the tool. So this is what we would consider a surveyor. With this, we want to actually cater to everybody's playstyle, whether you're solo or in an org. With this, you got different buildings that you can produce, from small, medium to large to XL. So with the surveyor tool, you can only build the small buildings. With a vehicle, you can build small and medium-sized buildings. With the Galaxy, you can build small to large structures.
Galaxy.
And then obviously with the Pioneer, Pioneer can do it all. And it still works as a mobile base. And we'll talk about some of the more expanded features that we're adding to it later on. So, and then it's also, we're exploring what can be done in space, not just on the planet.
Okay.
So from here.
So what do we expect to see in whatever they deem the near future? I will move myself so you can see the big picture. These two things. You know what I mean? This is not even being built. There's no shot that's being built. So if ever in the near future, this is the expectation, right? Now, I need to re-listen to that part again. Just because I want to hear him say space stations.
You can build small to large structures. And then obviously with the Pioneer, Pioneer can do it all. And it still works as a mobile base. And we'll talk about some of the more expanded features that we're adding to it later on. So, and then it's also, we're exploring what can be done in space, not just on the planet.
So we're exploring what can be done in space, not on the planet. They said that there would never be space stations built by players. YouTube comments? Hello? YouTube commenters? What did you say? Shut up. That's right.
So from here, you set off on your journey. So with the land claim, you put your tool down where you want, you launch the drone that is built into the machine, and then from there, this allows the player to access the base building and also land claim mode. With the land claim modes, the player can actually change the size and position of what area they want to claim, and it also shows you the cost and taxes associated with it. If it's in a taxable zone and you don't own the land, this interface will default to it.
Okay.
So if you own land or it's in a lawless area, it'll automatically go to base building mode. So with the overhead view of the land, you can actually place down buildings exactly where you want.
So we'll have overhead view.
You can see the resources beneath the surface, and then you can also place multiple buildings before you actually build.
Bro, how does the Galaxy play into this shit? So this is the thing. They built this whole big-ass ship. What does the Galaxy even do?
So you can see how it will all kind of come together. You'll see the resources that are needed for it.
I'm assuming it just launches these fucking drones that make the stuff. Or you deal with all the materials inside of it. You know what I mean? The way they always sold the Galaxy Pioneer was like you were going to drop these things down. You were going to build them on the ship and then drop them in the location. That whole ship is going to change completely.
And then you can also switch back and forth between different modes, which are showing off the resource network and how you link basically power generators to consumers. And then the player can move or deconstruct existing buildings right now with no charge. Fabrication. So when you basically build these buildings, they don't come with any furnishings. And if you didn't bring any with you, then you want to build a fabricator. So depending on what you want to build, there's different sizes of them that support buildings from decorations, armor, weapons, components, and even ships. So like base building mode, you need blueprints, resources to craft what you want.
Right, and then
everything
blueprints
fabricated
for this too.
is produced from a...
And then you could see this going further and further and further. Like, I have the fanciest blueprint for the fanciest building, and then, you know, all that kind of stuff.
It produces a physicalized entity. Stats and quality will depend on the quality of the materials actually used. Once you've done that and you've built your decorations, now you can actually fill the room the way that you want to fill it. So furnishings can be purchased at different locations, or they can actually be fabricated. You can do that via first person or in a dedicated mode in the Surveyor's tool.
Awesome,
With
right?
that, you've got different types of buildings. So you've got utility style, which would be garages, freight elevators, landing pads, storefronts.
There you go.
And then you've got extractors. So with extractors,
mining laser drills,
we
pumps,
want to
water
make sure
extractor.
that nothing in regards to resource gathering is fully automated. A level of player engagement is always needed. So as Nick talked about before, there are different types of
You won't just be AFKing this stuff.
Commodities, radioactive, perishable, etc. What you'll be doing is pulling out full containers. Then from there, it'll be repairing, or there's wear and tear associated with it, or even misfires like you saw.
Orgs working around the clock, paying low wages.
On Thorsten's talk and Guillermo's talk yesterday. There's also upgrade paths for making them more efficient.
Fucking K-capitalist right now. All the capitalists in chat are their dicks getting hard.
Or resilient. Power generators. So with different types of power generators, there'll be some that are more cost-effective as well as effective in different areas. Solar panels will not always work in darkness. Fuel generators will need to be filled up every now and then batteries to store excess power.
Cool.
Then you've got producers. So things that will require the players to combine different resources to produce new items. And then you've got defense.
Ford.
So anti-air, anti-personnel, and then shield generators.
Ford, seriously?
And then the big one. We start developing.
What is that? I can't see it. How do you make that go away? Make it go away, board.
Q1. So.
What was at the end? They start working on it in Q1. That was a big thing. Is that what he was trying to say? I forgot. Oh, okay. There was a big thing in the background. I didn't know what the big thing was. Okay. They're starting in Q1. Now, I'm going to say this. What I loved about that panel was not the idea of what it represented, because what it represents is a dream. It's a dream. They're talking about the next step of Star Citizen when they haven't even finished the one that they're on. It's just a dream. But they have laid out specifically your expectations for that dream. Okay? And the fact that they do not do this, they have, I think, purposefully left things vague for a very long time to allow you to imagine what you're going to do. And there's no imagination here. You know, where you might put it or something, sure. But they laid out specifically what you're going to do, what you can build, how you're going to interact with it, and what it can do. And that's it. There's no imagining how it's going to work. You know exactly how it's going to work. Now it's just up to them to do it. And that's the Star Citizen. That's the ISC. That's the SCLs. That's all the communication that I've wanted to see and hear from CIG for 11, 12 years, however long it's been. right there in the end of that panel was, this is what we're doing. This is how it's going to work. This is what you can expect. And now it's up to us to make it, right? You lay out what you want to do, you get people excited for what you want to do, and then you make what you want to do, and then you allow people to give a little bit of feedback on it, and you tweak. You don't completely revamp systems and change everything to make a completely different game than what people originally purchased. You tell them what they're going to purchase, you tell them what they want to play, and they decide whether or not they play it, and then you make that game for them. That's something they have not been doing, and that's something I want to see them do. And this is something I really hope they stick to. So you let people know what you want to, what your desire is, what your goals are, and then you reach those goals, right? So that was that panel for me. That was amazing. That was Destination Adventure. And now we go on a 12-month or so adventure of what they actually deliver, right? But even if it's the very beginnings of this, it would far exceed my expectations. So I hope we enjoy the adventure together.